All right, hi there, Craig Hocknull here. I've just been asked a bunch of questions recently through the YouTube channel, kind of on my swing technique and some of the things that I teach, and just wanted to clarify a few things because I think when people view something in a YouTube channel forum, they just assume that every instructor kind of has a method and they just teach the same thing over and over again. The reason why you'll probably see a lot of my videos, working on hand speed, for example, is because there's a huge number of amateur golfers picking up the game of golf and they've never been told to actually use their hands for hand speed. If you think about the simplest way to kind of hit a ball, you can do that with your hands and your wrists. I've got a lot of videos on my channel that kind of break down how I go about all of the systems in the body, from the hands to the arms to the shoulders to the hips and down to the feet. In my own swing, when I set up, I actually use my weight shift back to the right. You'll see that a lot of people kind of comment on how my right knee kind of kicks in a little bit. And then what you'll also see is I have a nice hip turn, right? So a lot of people think I have like a crazy amount of flexibility because they see the big turn. Well, it's not a back and shoulder turn, it's more of a hip turn. So as I kind of take my setup, get set, move back, kind of rotate into my backswing, look how far my hips are turned. They really can't turn any further. So a lot of people say, well, you believe all in hand speed. And well, yeah, I mean, the hands is your greatest speed producer in the swing for everybody. But as a high-level player, I am able to take my hand speed and put my hands further back with a hip turn. Now here's where I may differ from a lot of other instructors. From this moment, I am not spinning my hips and effectively letting my hands do nothing, right? My hands have to move that entire distance back to the ball, which means they themselves, hands and forearms, have to be moving much faster as a ratio of speed against my hips. You see it all the time on the tour. Player gets to here, they've wound up their hips, they maybe have a little bit of a transition right here, and then from this point on, their hips really aren't doing a whole lot. The arms come flying right past the body. A lot of people talk, or a lot of commentators speculate that Rory McIlroy is using all of his hips. Okay, well, there's plenty of video content out there of how he talks about it. He winds up into this side, and then he shifts, transfers his weight into his leg, but his hands and arms are flying through the ball. You cannot get the type of speed all the way through the ball that I get and all these top tour players get without using your hands and arms through there. If I set my arms all the way to here and I did nothing with them and I just pivoted my body, yeah, I would get a slingshot effect. I would get some of that to happen. And you know what? I've played like that before, and it's maybe a B- way of playing. Okay, you can actually set it, kind of forget it, turn, and achieve, B or B- technique or results. That's how I see it. But if I actually use my hands and arms, I'm able to go into the A and A+ results. So I like my students to start figuring out how to actually use their hands and arms sooner than they try to figure out their legs. So if I set up to this drive, here we go, nice big gust of wind. If I set up to this drive, I'm athletic, I'm balanced, I'm using my hips, my shoulders to turn back here off the ball. I will use my hips and shoulders to kind of get me back into this position. But then what's going to happen is my hands and arms independently are going to go flying through, going past my body to create the speed that I need to hit my shots. Yes, there's so many ways that the body adds a little bit of speed, a little bit of torque, a little bit of rotational speed. But when you break it all down, if you don't know how to use your hands and arms, you're gonna struggle in this game. So that's why I encourage so many people, take that stick, pull it back, swish it, whip the grass, do it with both hands. Take that stick, swish it around. eventually you're going to get to the point where your athletic ability in your hands is moving toward elite level, which means then you can actually start using your shoulders and hips and feet at elite level. But if you haven't figured out how to actually use your hands for elite level, you've really got no business trying to figure out how to use your hips and feet for elite level. So let's do this in the proper order. Let's get our hands and arms to figure out how to hit the ball first. Then let's transition into the shoulders and into the hips and the feet. I'll show you my swing again. Move back off the ball. Okay, now if I did absolutely nothing with my hands, this is what it would look like. Okay, set up here. We're basically not holding the club at all with any kind of grip pressure. Turn all the way back. I wouldn't even make contact because the club is back here, and I've turned and I'm lagging. Look at the club face. Club face is wide open, and I can't even reach the ball because I need to extend my wrist in order to do that. These are things you don't want to take for granted. I would rather you stand here like this, flat-footed, pull the club back with your hands, and throw your hands. Pull the club back with your hands, throw your hands. Figure out how to actually use the strength in your hands, in your forearms, to just kind of pull it back, whip it through. These balls are going anywhere from 230 to 250 yards, and all I'm doing is just kind of picking it up and swishing it through. Once you've accomplished that and you can create that type of coordinated effort with good speed with your hands, then coil up by all means. Coil your hips and shoulders up. Add some thrust and some torque and some rotation to that. Go for it. But if you don't have your hands actively creating that type of speed, you really don't have any business employing the other segments of your body. So here's one more for you. Full swing, full speed, nice turn, and accelerate the hands and arms through. Okay, so hopefully that just helps to explain it. I do a lot of coaching. I'm a full-time instructor. I don't coach everybody exactly the same. Most everybody comes to me at different places, different levels of coaching, different amounts of lessons they've taken in the past. And what I have to do is sift through all of their instructional background and make sure that I'm leaving no stone unturned. I don't take things for granted, like how to hold the club, how to put your glove hand on there, how to put your other hand on there, how to set up. These are all things that we accomplish in our lessons to just make sure that I'm not taking them for granted. Golf is the #1 do-it-yourself sport. It'd be just like driving down to Home Depot and saying, I'm going to build a house. I got everything at Home Depot that I need to build a house, but I don't need an architect. I don't need a builder. I'll just kind of figure it out on my way. If you have an expert architect, builder like myself, I'm going to help get you there so much faster. You're going to save so much more time and money getting good coaching than just kind of winging it on your own. The negative side effect of winging it on your own is other things like injury. You can blow out your vertebrae in your back, your wrists, your shoulders, elbows, everything. So please make sure you're getting coaching. If it's not from me, you're finding somebody that can really help you figure out exactly how to navigate this game. This is just the swinging part. This is just the lesson part. The rest of it on the golf course has its own challenges, from chipping to putting to bunkers to rules. So you need a guru, you need a guide, you need somebody that can help walk you along this journey. I'm just glad I found you. Please subscribe to my channel. Make sure that you're watching all the videos, commenting. I love to comment back. So I look forward to seeing you soon.